Well, I can say I'm not surprised that it took me a long time to do a video. I apologize for the long wait on this one. I wanted to get my actual, like, full. I want to say, like, it's more or less. I'm new to anime, okay? This review will be based on the new Demon Slayer Infinity Castle movie. I recently got into anime last year, around, I want to say July of last year, June, July. So I've only been into anime for less than a year. Um, Now, a lot of people will be very, very, and I want to say this very deeply, very touchy on the subject. I don't watch anime in Japanese. Okay, I I respect the Japanese for their culture. I respect everything they do. I respect everything they have created in this world to give us anime. But I respect the American voiceovers of anime. Now, does it not really suit sometimes? Because if you do watch it and you honestly pay attention to subtitles for Japanese and American, a lot of translation gets lost. Like I have noticed a lot of like different monologues, different voiceovers for everything, but it still gets the same result. You know, you still end up where you're at. I respect the Japanese voiceovers, the dubs. I respect for what they do. I am not a fan of the Japanese voiceovers in any way. Um, the Americans do their best, and it's not even Americans. There's very great Mexicans. Very different cultures that voice for the American dubs. So I give credit to where credit is due for the voices. That is step one for why I love this movie. The voicing is beyond extravagant. Even I've heard clips for the Japanese voiceovers, and they do an outstanding job because they know what's at stake here for this movie. Just a great movie that needs to be shown. I have watched the entire Demon Slayer. I understand what it does. I've read the manga. I understand where they're going with the story. I sadly know the ending of the entire franchise, but we're not gonna talk about that. The first movie for me for anime that is a continuation from the series is a 10 out of 10 in my opinion. Um, a lot of people complain about the pacing. If you don't watch or understand what Demon Slayer is about, it does a lot of cutting back and forth between the past, the present, and it kind of doesn't delve into the future, but it jumps a lot, you know, because you have to understand backstories, you have to understand where most of the demons, the characters for the demons, the demon slayers, you understand how they got to where they're at. And that is a prime example for the first fight, Shinobu and Doma's fight. They delve into Shinobu's backstory and why she wants to hunt this demon down. No spoilers for me. That fight was great. I loved how they showed Shinobu's actual fighting style, the bug breathing form. She is a bug breather. A lot of different breathers. If you understand Demon Slayer, you know where I'm coming from with this. But to actually see Shinobu's actual, like, you know, what was it? She did a lot of different fighting or breathing styles, but they were very well, very, very well made. I can't even say, like, most American movies need to take a lot of, like, you know, I'm going to say this. They need to take a lot of notes because the way Demon Slayer showed the breathing styles really, really stuck out for me in this one, and I loved it to a T. To Shinobu's, to Giyu's, to Tanjiro's, to Zenitsu's, all of their breathing styles are beautiful. The Hinokami Kagura that Tanjiro uses was very well made, and his newest form that he takes, Zenitsu's lightning that he uses against another demon that got turned from a lightning breather to a demon. His lightning was beautifully made. And then, of course, the goat himself, Giyu's breathing, who was shown the most of because of his fight with Tanjiro and against Akaza. They were very well made. Like, each form was shown beautifully. Even the demons, what was it? Sorry, I'm trying to blank. It's been a minute, and it's been a while. Their fighting stances are all beautiful. Even Thomas, you get to see a few that are going to be introduced in the next two films because right now, Demon Slayer is tracking to be the best anime movie in America. It has surpassed recently the Fantastic Four. I think the Fantastic Four only made 500 million to 550 million at the box office worldwide. Demon Slayer is sitting at 555 million and it's growing exponentially. Honestly, I'm kind of tempted to go see it again because it's just how much dedication UFO Table and all these other companies have put in the work to make Demon Slayer look this good. And that's just how well this movie was made, from the voices to the animation to the sound effects. Even the sound effects, like if their swords being drawn, their swords hitting the ground, their swords hitting their targets. It was very well produced. It's not that I'm at a loss for words. It's more or less I loved what they did, and it's not something that can be taken lightly because it's just beautifully made. I can't sit here and say that, they did a poor job. No, it was just beautiful. Like the scenes where they showed, just the calmer moments of the movie. Because again, it jumps back and forth between fighting and, talking about backstories and doing all this other stuff. It is a very well made movie. And for 2 hours and 30 minutes, you feel it. A lot of people say, that something should not have been in the movie, but honestly, that's how the Demon Slayer manga was produced. It delves deep into a lot of backstories. It goes back and forth between, you know, should you feel bad for this character who's a demon now? You do. To a point, there's some that honestly don't deserve it. But you go back to learn about the history of some of the demon slayers, past on why they're here and why most of them have their breathing techniques and why they're doing what they're doing for the sake of humanity. Overall, again, I'm new to anime. I respect everything they do, but this movie is a 10 out of 10 for me. And I love it because of its storytelling and you feel the emotion of each character down to the demons, backstories. That's just how well Japanese culture understands everything, you know, from getting down to family and, what they would do for each other in any sense of anything is what makes this movie and any anime so well written in some cases. The ones that actually delve into characters, not if you know anime, you know what I'm talking about. Um, I can't wait for more. I will say this with a full heart. This is a trilogy that's going to keep going, and with how well this one was made, I believe the next one is in 2027. They need the time to cook up something very well made. This movie, hands down, will put anime at the top of everything. In a few, I think, actually in a month or so, Chainsaw Man, the Reze arc comes out. It's gonna expand on more of why people want the Chainsaw Man's heart. It's a whole thing, but that's another movie coming out this year. You got Jujutsu Kaisen's. I think it's a recap of everything that happened in Shibuya, and it's gonna show hints of what's coming for season 3. And then you can make movies out of Jujutsu Kaisen's next arc at least. Demon Slayer again has its last 2 movies for the Infinity Castle. Overall, I'm excited. As an anime newest fan, I'm excited for what's coming. And I've been getting a lot into, different animes that can continue to grow and produce movies on their own if they wanted to. Once that could be comedic reliefs, most of what America has lost in their time making movies. And this goes for Disney again. Like earlier this year, I made a video on Disney's live action remakes. They're not good enough. even their animations are falling off. Like I heard, I think it was for some alien animation that came out. Elio, I think it was called. It didn't even top of what Demon Slayer did in its first week out in America. That is sad. A lot of companies need to sit down and realize we want great storytelling, but we also want the most badass things ever produced to give us something to sit there for 2 hours and 30 minutes and want to come back again. Like, I have gone to see Demon Slayer 3 times. 2 times were for collectibles that I wanted to get at the movie theaters. But the third time was because of how just good the movie is. I saw it twice in 4K, the XD theaters, and it was beautiful. You know, you sit there and realize that a lot of people sat there for hours and hours on end just making greatness into reality. Because again, the manga doesn't look good. I'm not going to sit here and bash the manga's art style. It does not look good. Most of the characters do not look good. So what UFO Table and the other companies are doing are making these moments look beautiful. The Demon Slayer marks, the effects for the Demon Slayer's breathing styles, for the demons' fighting styles, they are making them look beautiful, making them look, you know, what you would want to see out of, you know, from what Marvel was doing from their comic books to the big screen. And I still respect Marvel for making that happen. And now anime companies are taking that into effect. Even if they don't do live action and the animations are still a big thing, they make them look good. Now, does that mean everything will look good? No. Some things still look like, oh, I just still do this. Like, there's a goofy side to Demon Slayer that still shows. And there were some goofy parts that popped into the movie that made me actually burst out laughing. And that's what makes, for me, that's what makes anime. You know, you have your serious moments that really stick out and they show and they make the scene for what they are. You either feel them crying or you feel like, dang, I want to be like this character in Demon Slayer or in any other anime. I want to be like them. I want to strive to be like, you know, Tanjiro, Giyu, Inosuke, Zenitsu. All these characters from this, you want to be and fight with them by their side. Or, you know, you feel the heart of the demons and why they became who they are if it wasn't a very bad backstory. Like, I think in one of them, I think it was season 2, it was a brother and sister that turned into a demon because, you know, the brother was trying to protect his sister so much. She was beautiful. He didn't want her to live a life of being disgusting. And he was a disgusting guy. Like, you know, he was raised in, you know, a poor situation. And you felt for him because it, you know, I'm an older brother myself. I would do anything to protect my sister. Becoming a demon? Not really. I wouldn't want to see her lose her, you know, lose her way and become a demon because I think it was even too, you know, it showed their backstory and them going to hell because they just got defeated by Tanjiro and, you know, they even said, I hate you, I don't want to die, but they had to because they were demons. And you feel that emotion of what the demon's name, the brother was Kitaro, and you feel his sister, what was her name? Daki. You feel their emotion of they didn't want to die. They want to stay alive and still be the way they were, but they ended up becoming worse than what they were. And it's something that makes you really feel that. And that's why I tend to like anime a little bit more than American TV shows, because you do feel emotion when you're invested into it. If you're not, then you won't feel it and you don't care. But I care for certain characters, and a lot of backstories do fill, you know, the void for me. But overall, this movie's been out for about 3 to 4 weeks in theaters. I would say if you're an anime fan, go see it. If you have seen it, drop down your comment below of what you love the most about this movie. Spoil it if you want to. I didn't spoil it because I don't like to spoil movies anymore in my videos. this is one of two videos today. Tomorrow's video will be on the Marvel Zombies TV show. This will be my first introduction of talking about TV shows. And if you guys want more of that, I'm down to sit down and do that, because recently I've been on a binge watch of anything TV show related, as long as it's good and not stupid. Thank you again for your patience on videos. I've been trying to find my it's not love, it's more or less my passion to get back into content creating. It'll mostly be for YouTube videos and TikTok videos. Streaming is kind of taken, not a toll on me, but it's more or less, I don't want to overdo my PC. And right now, I am just easily and slowly getting back into everything. So, again, drop down your comments below of what you want to see next, and I'll catch you guys in the next video tomorrow. I gotta record some gameplay for Marvel Rivals, but that will be done here shortly. Thank you so much for your guys' patience. Peace.